Colgate are a very well-known brand when it comes to oral health care products, and the 250R is one of their newest electric toothbrushes. I've been testing it and I'm here to give you my opinions on it. So I'm going to jump straight in with the verdict and let you know what I think about it, because ultimately that's what you want to know, right? Well, the 250R is a very good electric toothbrush considering the price that you actually pay for it. Ultimately, the best way to describe it is it's superb value for money. It's not packed with features and functions that you don't need, and it just delivers basic cleaning performance at a very good price. So I should just let you know, because there can be some confusion when it comes to buying electric toothbrushes, that the 250R is a replacement to the 250 and the 250 Plus that came before it. And there are some subtle differences between those previous versions and this newer 250R model. The most notable differences are the fact that the 250R has a slightly refreshed design. It looks a little bit smarter and a little bit more current, which is good to see. Unfortunately, the redesign has meant slightly inferior battery life, which is a disappointment, and it also means that the travel cap that used to protect the brush head and the power button when in transit is no longer provided in the box with the 250R. Now, they might not be deal breakers, but just something to make you aware of. So let's take a look at the pros and cons of the 250R from Colgate. So one of the pros is that the fact that it has just one cleaning mode. There's not multiple cleaning modes on here, it just has that one mode, so it's easy to use, get up and running and just brush your teeth. It's slim and lightweight and it has a nice design. It's not particularly offensive. It does potentially lack a few little kind of gripping points, but it's nice, stylish and lightweight. It's certainly a lot lighter than most other electric toothbrushes. Also has a built-in timer to encourage you to brush for the dentist recommended 2 minutes. It automatically powers off at the end of the clean, and it's good value as well. So to the negatives then, well, there's no travel cap included. It's not a deal breaker, but the model before it did have that, and it used to protect the bristles of the brush head and the power button, which was really handy in transit. So it's a shame that that has gone. There's no pressure sensor built in, so if you brush your teeth too hard, it doesn't alert you like some electric toothbrushes will. Again, it's not the biggest thing, but just something to be aware of. The battery life isn't as good as I would ideally like and is worse than the previous model. And this power button isn't the best power button that I've ever used before. By all means, it functions, but you need to press it quite firmly and you just don't get the same level of feedback as you do from some other electric toothbrushes. So I want to get into some more detail about the brush, but before we get into all the nitty-gritty, I just want to make you aware that there are a few different versions of the 250R. The one I've got here is the charcoal version. You also get a whitening and you also get a deep clean version. And the main differences between those different versions is the brush head supplied and the colour of the brush handle. The way it actually performs, the battery life, it's all the same. It's just the brush head differs and the colour of the brush handle. So let's dig into some of the details then, so you really get an idea of what this toothbrush is like to use. And let me tell you that the overall cleaning experience is very good. I mean, it's obviously personal opinion as to whether you think it's the best cleaning action for you. This is a sonic cleaning action where the bristles move side to side. It's not the oscillating, rotating action that you see on the likes of Oral-B brush heads. So if you're used to something like an Oral-B toothbrush, this is very different, although it still provides a good standard clean, and this is essentially comparable to the likes of the Philips Sonicare electric toothbrushes. Now the brush head on this one is slightly smaller than those that you'll see on Philips Sonicare heads and is more akin to the round brush heads of Oral-B. Obviously this isn't round, but this size of brush head is quite nice for getting to the back teeth, and if you have a crowded mouth and sometimes find the larger brush heads a little bit more difficult to use. So it's a lovely slim handle, it's very lightweight as well. It does lack any real gripping points on here, so some people do struggle to grip onto the handle without extra grips. Now it's not slippy in hand, although it is a bit more of a gloss plastic, it doesn't feel like it's going to slip out the hand that easily. I can get a fairly good grip on it. And it's a nice design. I think in comparison to some toothbrushes, Colgate have done a nice job here. I have to say it feels fairly cheap and functional. I don't want to criticize the build quality because I think it's good enough, but you don't necessarily get the same robustness or premium feel of the materials as you might with other toothbrushes. But then again, the price of this kind of depicts that to many extent. You kind of get what you pay for to some extent here. So the power button on this one, as you can see, is in this red panel, and it's got the white power icon. Unfortunately, it's quite firm and doesn't provide much real feedback to the fingertip. Now, firm does stop accidental activation, but some may find that a little bit difficult to press, potentially the older generation or younger children. You need to give it a firm press, and the lack of feedback can be disappointing. Now, you can hear it in action there. It's a sonic action. It's fairly quiet overall. It's not too noisy. You just get that kind of strong vibration from it there. Now, when the toothbrush is actually in use, you've got the one cleaning mode, which defaults once you press that power button on. It's got a 2-minute timer and 30-second pacer built in, so it encourages you to brush for the dentist recommended 2 minutes. It's nice to see that included. Unfortunately, you don't have a pressure sensor. I mean, that would be a nice to have, but it's not essential. So just remember, when brushing your teeth, you don't need to scrub the teeth. Let the bristles of the brush head do the work. You need to only sort of let the bristles skim the tooth surface. You don't need to scrub the teeth. You get one brush head provided in the box. It's interchangeable, so you should replace it every 3 months. Now, to take it off, you just slide it on and off like so. And Colgate do a range of brush heads. So if you particularly like a different style of brush head, you can get that from the Colgate range available. And you also have a nice little tongue cleaner on the back here. It's just a number of raised sort of silicone bits on the back that you can scrape across the tongue to help keep the tongue clean. Around the power button, there is actually a white light that comes on. You might be able to see this here. So this gives you an indication as to the remaining battery power. It also alerts you when the brush is on charge, so you can see it charging. There's a recess on the base of the toothbrush. To allow for charging, you sit it on the provided charging stand. You get the handle and a brush head included, as well as some documentation in the box. It is a water resistant handle, so it can get wet. Comes with a 2-year warranty as well, which is pretty good. So the claimed battery life of the 250R is 10 days based on 2 brushing sessions per day, each 2 minutes in length, so 40 minutes of total brushing time. In my hands-on testing, I actually managed 12 days, which is positive. What is a bit of negative is the previous version, the 250 Plus, did actually achieve 14 days, so I don't quite know why the battery life is worse on this. You may have different opinions to me, but I like a toothbrush to be able to sort of survive around about 2 weeks. So I kind of think if I went on vacation for a couple of weeks, you could take this and not have to worry about the charger. You do get a charging stand included in the box. It's a 2-pin charging stand suitable for UK bathrooms. It's quite bulky. The one with the 250R is black to colour match with the handle, and you just sit the toothbrush on to actually charge it. When it's actually on charge, the white light around the power button will illuminate to show you that the brush is charging. When it is fully charged, the light will go out. It takes about 10 hours to fully charge the battery in here. And if you're using this and the power is low, you'll get a red light around this red power button as well to alert you to the fact that you need to charge your toothbrush. On average, you're going to get 10 to 12 days from this toothbrush, which is definitely not the worst, but it's not as good as the competition that easily offer 2, 3 or even 4 weeks in many cases. Now, the recommended retail price of the 250R is $49.99. Don't pay this. You really don't need to spend as much as £50 on an electric toothbrush to get yourself a good one. The fact of the matter is, typically toothbrushes, the 250R included, sell for approximately 50% less than this. And whilst prices are always subject to change, I found that the average selling price of the 250R was around about £20, which is very good value indeed. There's not many toothbrushes as good as this that sell for £20. Most of them sell for quite a bit more, probably around the £30 to £40 price point. Cost of replacement brush heads typically work out around about £3.75 each, which is fairly comparable to other brands. It can seem a little bit more expensive in comparison to the actual cost of the toothbrush itself, but that's kind of just how it is, unfortunately. One of the things we like to do here is work out the typical cost of owning a toothbrush over a 3-year period to give you a little bit of a benchmark. owning the Colgate 250R works out around 6p per day, which is comparable to other similarly featured toothbrushes. So it's not a bad purchase at all. Certainly falls in the better value category of electric toothbrushes, and I certainly think you could do a lot worse when it comes to price and value for money in an electric toothbrush. You just need to weigh up whether the features and functions are right for you, or whether you want a brush with slightly better battery life and maybe a travel case included. To conclude, as I sort of did at the start of the review, good value electric toothbrush. It does the job, and yeah, I think you'd be very pleased with this if you're on a particularly tight budget. If you found this video useful, be sure to give it a thumbs up. For more videos like this, click subscribe. Until next time, thanks for watching.